Welcome to Moist Nougat. I am the Kid.
And I'm Dan Lee.
You can see we're in a different environment.
Very much so.
We are at the cabin. The cabin in the woods.
Yes.
My sister and brother-in-law's cabin. Finally made it up here, and decided to bring all the gear.
Sure. Good idea.
We're sitting more side by side and then across from each other like we normally do, so it's kind of weird. We're getting into our most prized possessions this week.
Yeah.
And I didn't have an extensive list. I think the older I've gotten, the less material possessions mean to me.
Right.
What is your for the first thing on your list?
Well, I do look at them as a material possession, even though they are photographs. But I was into photography for so long when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And so I had a decent camera and I just tried all different kinds of things.
Photos is a good one. I didn't think of that one.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Because you can go back in time. Well, speaking of that, I've been out taking pictures of the cabin, and
yeah,
I got a short video of you weed whacking a little while ago, and a picture, and John mowing the lawn. I got a little video of him doing a lap, and
I don't get enough of it already. I had to come up to the mountains to.
I obviously drums, even though I'm not playing them a whole lot these days.
Right.
And I've thought, man, maybe it's time to unload them and maybe just get, an electronic kit that doesn't take up so much room. But I'm like, the drums themselves, I mean, it's the cymbals.
Right.
There's thousands of dollars of cymbals there, and,
sure.
and I'd never be able to replace them if I sold them. I'd just never be able to afford it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, that's the thing. Every time I think, I'm like, I just can't. Also got a couple toolboxes and might hear some noise here and again because we're not the only people here, obviously.
Yeah.
We're downstairs and talk about podcast studio. This would be this would be a great setup.
Yeah, because we're in the game room. I mean, there's plenty of things to do.
Yeah. Foosball and
just it's a neat place.
College football game on the TV over there. We can just look at and
a snare drum that I bought. I bought a Ludwig snare drum not all that long ago, and it's a drum that I'd been looking at for so many years, but I can go back to the 70s looking at that particular model of Ludwig snare drum. So I bought a good stand, and of course I have other things that you gave me too. Wonderful practice stuff. So can't ever let go of the drums entirely.
Yeah.
I've got to have that snare drum to get out and practice on and just make sure that.
You should have bought a marching. I know why you bought that particular snare drum, but if you were a marching snare drum, you could just walk around the campground.
Oh, yeah,
playing rudiments and
absolutely, and people would
piss everybody off.
Yeah, no, they'd love me. they wouldn't be throwing stones.
I went with my Broncos stuff.
Yeah,
I'm at a point where I have so much of it that I've acquired over the years, but I don't have it displayed anymore because, I don't have any place to display it, and we rent, and it's like I don't want to have to pack it all up if we move.
Sure.
But I can't let go of it yet.
Right.
I just can't.
I don't
not
blame
there
you.
yet. Even though we fucking suck this year so far.
Now,
if I had this room, it would be just blasted with Broncos stuff. It'd be everywhere.
Especially with the bar right there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, this would be the sports room.
These walls right here.
Everything would be just Broncos everywhere.
Yeah. My racing stuff. So, not a long career in racing when you look at it from just working on the cars, transporting the cars. Just 7 years. but that was 7 years that, I mean, I literally used to look around once in a while and go, how the hell did I get here?
You know,
I mean, it wasn't all that long ago.
I used to think the same thing. How the hell did he get there?
Did somebody drive me here? Did I get pushed out of a bus? What happened?
So
No.
what things do you have?
I have, what I did keep was the most important thing for me was the my race day shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, I had plenty of T-shirts that said Rusty Wallace Racing on them.
But your actual uniform shirts.
My actual uniform shirts.
My pocket watch. I have a pocket watch that my wife got me back when we were out on the road. Everything's leading back to the fucking road right now for some reason.
It
but we used to stop
life.
in Tombstone.
Yeah.
And, of course, we all had cowboy, a bunch of us anyways are really into it. We had the whole thing. And so I always wanted a pocket watch because that's what they had back then was a pocket watch.
Sure.
And she got me a nice pocket watch, and it's actually locked in a safe.
Great.
I love that pocket watch. It's just I would never let it go. So
I'm just like you. I'm such a fan of Tombstone. I remember the day that you and I walked around Tombstone.
Yeah, the first time I went was with you and Mom.
Yeah, we walked around the whole town. We just checked everything out. We were up and down every street.
Yeah, we stayed overnight and then left the next morning.
Yeah.
But
went to all the bars and that was fun.
Yeah, it was I hope to get back there at some point.
Yeah, that's definitely
another one of my most prized possessions is all this stuff, the recording and podcasting and camera gear and all that. Like, it's not all super high end stuff, but it's what I do as a hobby now. It's just I know I'm not making any money or doing anything like that. We're not like making spiral podcasts and videos and stuff. But
this one's kind of cool. It's a toy race car that my parents gave me in 1956.
I know which one you're talking about. That blue one, right?
The blue one, yeah. And it's a race car, and the sponsor on the race car. And I when I say race car, I think it was a time trials car. I think it was a Bonneville car.
Yeah.
So you're just racing against you want
open cockpit.
Open cockpit. And you're very streamlined.
And it's pretty big. It's like it's like a foot long.
It's good size. It's got it's all made out of metal, and I'm sure it was stamped metal, but the wheels and the tires are real big and narrow, and it duplicates what was run. And I have to assume just by looking at the body and the fact that all it says on it is Mobil Gas, so Mobil Gas Company. And it's really seen a lot of hard use.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a toy, so you played with it.
I was 4 years old. It was 1956. I was 4 years old, and to this day, I can close my eyes and I can see my parents standing there in the kitchen, and my father showing me the car, and he goes, "Here's a new car for you," or something like that, to that extent. And he sets it down on the floor, and I came running in and sliding on my knees and got this thing. And I'm sure that they probably had to pry it out of my hands that night so I would go to sleep.
Yeah. My grandmother gave me a bunch of old coins.
Yeah.
And I have those, and they're locked in the same safe that the pocket watch is in.
Yeah.
And
cool.
Yeah, I mean, and some of these coins are old, and I'm not a coin collector kind of person, but
right.
Some of these things I think are like, because I've looked at them through the years, every once in a while I'll get them out and look at them. Some of them are like 1800s.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're old coins.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford a new car again, so it is my prized possession. It gets me from point A to point B.
Yeah.
So it had to make my list.
Yeah.
It got me here. Hopefully it gets me home.
Yeah. Yep.
not a whole lot I can say about it. Like I said, it's not a hot rod or anything like that. It's just, it's a Kia Soul.
Yeah.
10 years old.
Yeah, it's
almost 11 years old.
It's completely reliable. That's the great thing about it.
Well,
yeah.
Let's hope so. I got a 2-hour drive tomorrow, so
I'm right there with you. There is one small thing.
And you're done. You can't.
I can't go there?
No.
Time does not allow. And
fine.
the fans will be wondering, what was he going to say? It was going to be important. Well, what it is 1 year that one of our souvenir trailers that we had, it was Ricky Rudd was who we were, selling for at the racetrack. And it was kind of cool because your mom and I both worked for Ricky Rudd for a year. When we did when he was driving the Tide car.
Right.
He hired us, and we worked right out of the race shop. And so I was always there. If I wasn't working on the souvenir trailer, he'd put me up in the warehouse, or he'd put me in places because he just said, you got good organizational skills, so I'm going to put you to work on some other stuff. And he was the boss. And I was like, sure, whatever, Ricky, I don't care. And so I worked a little bit on some of the cars, not much though.
Right.
I just helped out when they needed an extra hand. But like I organized his warehouse that was on the whole top floor was kind of a warehouse for all different things. But we did run a souvenir trailer, and the sponsor was U.S. Air Force. And what was cool about that is that we would get visits out to the souvenir trailer. Ricky would come out and sign autographs. And on occasion, he'd be signing, and we would all anticipate. We heard that a 4-star was going to be coming to the trailer.
Yeah.
And the 4-star would show up with his entourage. And these guys were so cool. And someone had told me, they said, don't forget to ask him for a coin. It's a military coin, and all services have them. And what it would have on it is one side would show the 4 stars, and then general, and then his name, and then it would have some really cool Air Force thing on the back. So about the size of a silver dollar, pretty thick. And I had numerous ones of those.
I know, because you used to always come over to my trailer after you got one, brag about it.
Yeah,
the one I got now, man.
Look at that. I am too cool, and I know this guy now. And we're not real tight, but he knows me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what was cool, though, was at Dover, we got an invite to the air base, and it was the second time in my life I got to get on one of the C-5s.
Yeah.
The great big airship where the nose opens up. And they'll drive trucks inside.
Yeah, those things were so crazy when they were flying because it didn't look like they were moving fast enough to even stay in the air.
Yeah, really.
And they're huge.
They're monstrous.
And in Dover, they'd always be flying over.
Yep.
And you're just like, how the hell is that thing staying in the air? It's not going fast enough.
I know it. Yeah, they would hold something like 4 tractor trailers in the belly.
Yeah.
Of that thing.
Yeah, they're just monstrous.
Crazy.
Well, I guess we've given you all our prized possessions.
That's it. Yeah. Morons with microphones.
That's what the podcast should have been called. Yeah. Morons with microphones.
We need our MWM t-shirts.
But anyways, thanks for listening. I am the Kid.
Thank you, and I'm Danny Lee.
We'll catch you next time.